Good evening, it's Steve with Real Progressives. Tonight, folks, I go back last year, and there was so many gun violence, so many mass shootings last year. Last primary season. During last primary season, it seemed that no matter what was going on, no matter how much discussion was going on, there just seemed to always be yet again another shooting. Now, God, I have no idea what goes in the minds of these people when they finally tip over and they go into, let me go ahead and kill some innocent people mode. But I do know that it's suddenly happening again, right smack dab in the middle of primary season, yet again. And all the normal responses keep coming out. Oh my God, gun control. Oh my God, white supremacy. Oh my God, this. Oh my God, that. Folks, I'm telling you right now, I couldn't be more somber and more committed to this truth. Whether people are bigots or racists, that's another story in and of itself, because we have a lot of people in this country that just flat out hate each other for a variety of reasons. Not always race, not always gender, not always socioeconomic status, not always whether they're an immigrant or they look different, whether they're fat, whether they're skinny, brown, white. We have people that hate each other in general. And a lot of that hate comes down to bitterness. And you don't have to believe me. You don't have to trust me. But I ask you to suspend your current belief system momentarily and just consider for a moment what I'm about to say. When I was going through unemployment, I was despondent. And so much bills racked up that I didn't feel like there was any way out. Now, thanks to a lot of good friends and a lot of people who support the work that I do as an activist, I was able to barely make it through. But I'm not going to lie. There were some very dark days during that. I kept fighting. I kept pushing through. I kept doing my activism. I kept applying for jobs. I kept trying to better myself. But during that time period, I gained almost 100 pounds. I had a torn knee ligament. I was miserable. There was no health care to solve my problems. There was no money to solve those problems. My teeth were rotting out of my mouth. All kinds of problems. Was I bitter? Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Very bitter. Now, I didn't go and lose my mind over this. I didn't go out and do something that I would regret. I didn't do something reprehensible like kill someone or hurt someone. But I felt hopeless. I felt despondent. I felt like, why bother? Even though I've kept putting one foot in front of the other, it was sometimes really, really hard to shake that feeling. Now, you go around all over America, really around the world, but in America in particular, and you look at what 50 years of austerity, 50 years of neoliberalism, which has been tied directly to suicides and mental illness, and not just any kind of mental illness. We're talking about true, honest-to-God despair, rage, hopelessness, inability to deal with others, inability to deal with people different from ourselves. Neoliberalism has been all about trying to demonize Group A, lifting up Group B, pitting Group A against Group B, and nonstop fanning those flames. Well, what did you think was going to happen after years and years of doing this? Years and years and years of political advantage gained by fanning racial tensions, by fanning, and I'm not talking about ignoring the very real issues of race. I'm talking about leveraging the us against them stuff, really, really further exacerbating the divide, neoliberalism and its identity politics. You look at the xenophobia in this country, and you look at how many people absolutely despise the immigrant community. It's terrifying. It's appalling. And yet, if you take a step back for a second, aside from the fact that people just genuinely in this world fear what they don't understand, there is another component that is all too often forgotten, and that is that you may have a job, but it's not a secure job. You're at will. Your boss wakes up with a hangover, you could be fired. Hell, he doesn't even need to have a hangover. They may just not like the way you ran a meeting. Maybe you were 5 minutes late. Your life gets turned over just right there on a dime. Your kids, your wife, your husband, miserable. There is so much pain and suffering in this world. And truly awful people are more worried about partisan politics than they are solving the problem for the 99%. You know, this rugged individualism is a direct libertarian / Ayn Rand / this I am the king of my own world. Let me own guns. Let me be a man. Let me be a victorious man. Let me protect what's mine. Let me guard against the ne'er-do-goods. Well, then you pour a little bit of gas on that. You pour a little bit of austerity on there. You pour a little bit of hopelessness on there. It doesn't take much. It's just a tipping point, folks. People hit that tipping point at various times. You just don't know when it's going to happen. But when people feel like their lunch is about to be taken by someone, and they don't understand why it is that they're not being taken care of, but this intruder, this illegal, is coming in, is going to take their job. It doesn't take much. It only takes one person to finally tip over that edge. We have more guns in America than the military probably has guns. Private ownership of guns is outrageous, but it's also been a part of American culture for as long as we've been a nation. So, what do you suppose makes someone tip over the edge? What do you suppose it is? I mean, we've always had racists in this country. We've always had white supremacy in this country. The country was founded on it. What makes a mass shooter? I am here to tell you, hopelessness is a key ingredient, not only in fascism, but neoliberalism and corporatism. Hopelessness is what nationalism seeks to remedy. When you have nationalism, and you have a guy like Donald Trump up top, fanning all those fears, keeping you, making you feel like he understands your problem. There's a new kind of allegiance that forms. It's more at the core. This guy gets your struggle, right? He gets it. These damn Immigrants are causing all your problems. If only we could get rid of them. And the mind spins out of control. But when you take care of people, really take care of them, not make them jealous of someone taking something from them, but actually take care of them, they tend to be, regardless of whether they're a racist, they tend to be charitable. They tend to want to help. They tend to want to be a part of helping others. They tend to not hate. They tend to not guard. There's a whole different mindset that comes when their basic needs are met. You don't have to believe me. But I just want you to know that in Nazi Germany, Hitler rode in to power based on the vacuum that was left from the Treaty of Versailles, where the conditions were brutal. I want to tell you something. You may not agree with this either. But for those of us who have invisible diseases, autoimmune disorders, arthritis, things that you can't see, no big giant boo-boo, no big giant cut on the forehead. People oftentimes downplay our pain because they can't see the wound. There's no broken leg. But that pain, it's excruciating. And because people don't understand the pain of austerity, they don't understand what it's like to live in fear. Or if they do, they don't realize that some people take that and they go down the spiral. Folks, a person that is taken care of and has their basic needs met and doesn't have to worry about the acts of neoliberalism chopping their head off at work, depriving them of benefits, depriving them of health care, depriving them of food, depriving them of station in life. When people are not worried, they act very, very differently. And like in Nazi Germany, Hitler came in there and painted a picture of what it meant to be great again, to make it what the German people and their greatness was. And when people are down, and when people are out, and when people are hopeless, and somebody comes in and tells them that they're going to make it great again, the people seeking that will find it. When you see the fanning of the flames about immigrants, that same allegiance kicks in. They're the problem. It pains me to see people focus solely on guns, like somehow or another trying to take guns out of the hands of people, when in reality, even though sensible gun regulation should be a no-brainer. The fact is that the conditions that create gun violence have less to do with the gun and more to do with hopelessness and despair. It's not like people that are happy-go-lucky and got the world by the short hairs run around just shooting people. That's not the MO. It's not. And I'm sure you can pull one, freaking weird sample out to try and disprove what I just said, and that's fine. But like I said, just suspend your ideas for a minute and think about what I'm saying. We've had this very, very long stretch of employment growth in this nation, and yet the job wages have not grown. People are no better off now than they were back in the crash in many ways. In fact, some people were making more money during the crash than they are today. And no, it's not about money only, but it's about access to the things that matter. I was talking to some friends earlier today, and I realized that there are many people that can't even take a break from work, myself included. I don't have any paid days off. I'm going in for surgery tomorrow. I should probably be out of work for 3 or 4 days, But instead, because I have no paid time off, I'll be back to work on Tuesday limping around on a freshly operated on leg. Now, if I didn't understand the solution, if I didn't understand the problem set, it'd be very easy to slip into like a psychosis of some sort, that feeling of hopelessness. But I understand what's going on, and I want to fight back against it. But most people don't listen to this. They got their mind made up. They think they got the answers. God damn it, we'll just take away all the guns. Or we'll just do this. None of it is really the core thing. If you make people whole, if you take away the desperation and the destitution, if you take away the fear of lost wages and lost employment, if you stop making it so that it's so hard to live, people will behave differently. And it will make a Trump presidency impossible. No one will want that garbage. No one would want this garbage. But here we are. Here we are. More people dead. You know, I always say people are dying. In our podcast, our song has a line, people are dying. We want the truth. And the truth is that we can take care of every living soul in America today, including immigrants, veterans. There's no need for the pain and suffering brought on by austerity. There's no reason for it. There's no reason for it. Sometimes I want to take people by the collar and shake them and shake them and shake them to make them understand this. But they're too distracted chasing after Putin, calling Mitch McConnell, Moscow Mitch, and other worthless things. Calling Trump T-Rump gets them their jollies. But that's more of that bullshit that if they were actually felt like there was hope, they wouldn't do something petulant and childish like that. They would actually be fighting for a Green New Deal, fighting for a job guarantee, fighting to raise wages to get that minimum up through the job guarantee and setting that wage floor so everyone's better. But they're not. They're playing distraction games. And when you see people are distracted, for a thinking person, you know it takes an awful lot of people committed and on board to make real change happen. And when you see the people aren't focused on making that change, they're focused on bullshit like, impeach Trump and all this stuff. I mean, don't get me wrong, Trump's an asshole. I want health care, folks. I'm sorry. I'm tired of worrying. So I can only imagine people in worse shape where they're at mentally. Is this a be-all, end-all? Are there exceptions to every rule? Absolutely. But can you envision how much happier our nation would be? How much more peaceful our nation would be if people's basic needs were met and they didn't have to worry? Food insecurity makes people act very, very differently. Fear of losing their home makes people act very, very differently. Fear of losing their job and their family makes people act very, very differently than someone who can take and sit on a couch and put their feet up and breathe a sigh of relief. Relax. Have some balance in their life. Have some wellness. But we don't prioritize wellness in this country. We prioritize fitness for the sake of looking good, but we don't prioritize mental fitness, mental acuity. For us, we sit there and prioritize watching reality television. I can't tell you that making everyone whole will put an end to all mass shootings, but I can tell you this. The world we live in will be that much less apt to going out and trying to take another life. Building a caring economy that everyone is taken care of is not only possible, but why else would a country exist? We're not a corporation. We're not trying to maximize profit. We're not turning citizens into, I mean, this is unreal. Why do we behave this way? Don't we see the cause and effect? They keep ratcheting down deeper and deeper and deeper and tighter into the rules that keep people very, very, very on edge. It's very, very hard to fathom an end to violence when we can't envision what a world of peace looks like, when we can't afford in our own minds to think about what hope looks like. It makes me really sad when I think about how easily distracted our movement is. When I see people that aren't focused on a Green New Deal and a job guarantee and free college for all and ending student debt, when I don't see that, and I don't see folks understanding the economics, when I see folks blowing it off and acting like it's not a big deal, it makes me very sad. It makes me realize that my kids are probably not going to be okay. I wish I could blame the establishment, but I can't. They've got their hands dirty in a lot of ways. This is on us. This is on us. We don't prioritize the right things, and we can't stay focused long enough to see change through. We hadn't seen a candidate like Bernie Sanders come through in my entire lifetime. Not one. Obama didn't touch it, didn't come near it. And the first time we get one, we should have known the country wasn't quite ready for it. Even though they rigged the damn primary, even though they rigged it, the country wasn't ready for it. The country was busy celebrating Bill Clinton's balanced budgets. They weren't ready for somebody who was talking about massive spending. They hadn't heard this in a long time. All they kept hearing was how broke the country is. The country wasn't ready for somebody with a vision of positive momentum. They couldn't fathom being taken care of. They couldn't fathom the government doing something right. So they shit on it. They quit 5 minutes before the miracle. And so we got these mass shootings because people have given up on life. They blame other people for the mistakes and their errors, when in reality our government has created the conditions for this dog-eat-dog world. And quite frankly, by extension, because of our worthless ignorance about how economics works, we have thought the nation's broke too. And we have perpetuated this by electing shitheads that talk about eating our peas and cutting back spending. So the hopelessness keeps on going. We always worry about inflation, but a little bit of inflation helps the people that are in debt finally put away some money to get out of inflation. Or to get out of debt, And debt? Do your homework. Go out there and Google search or DuckDuckGo search or whatever and find out what economic disparity does in a family. How many divorces occur from economic problems? How many children end up left behind because of economic problems? How many children are raised in a household with fighting galore because of economic problems? And how many people leave home despondent and raging, having been abused because of economics? You're going to get it or you're not going to get it. But I'm telling you right now, distracting everyone with another gun game, it's just going to get the NRA all going and the Republicans going. They already got Trump going. They are ready for us to do same old, same old. What if we shocked them and took care of people? What if we shocked them and instead of falling back on the same tired stuff, we changed the script a little? We started focusing on making people whole. What if we did that? You can think I'm pie in the sky, it's fine. But I hope you took the time to think about what I'm saying. Because hurt people, and desperate people are the most dangerous people on the planet because they've got nothing to lose. And if you breed enough desperate people, eventually enough of them will throw in the towel and say, I got nothing to lose, and start taking people out. That's just the way it goes. I'd like to say it's this horrible thing, and it is. But it's really a preventable thing in many ways. But because this is an abstract concept, most people will dismiss what I'm saying. That's a damn shame. But I hope you will take a few minutes to think about what I'm saying and consider, what if I'm right? What if? What if hope, genuine hope, was enough to change the course of human history? What if we learned how to take care of one another and took care of our basic needs? What if we had a caring economy that left no one behind? What if healthcare was a right? What if you had a right to a job no matter what, so it doesn't matter who comes in this country, they're not taking your job from you? What if? The violence is going to keep happening, my friends. You can either spin and wonder, or you can get real serious about making people whole. I'm Steve Grumbine with Real Progressives. Have a good night, everybody.